right, so I'm back. So today I want to do something a little bit different than outside. We out here, it's kind of natural out here, natural sunlight. Anyways, we'll get straight to it. So today I want to talk to you about just should you pick up your kids on the days that's not your designated days? So some of y'all may have court orders as far as your custody arrangement, and some of y'all don't. And some of y'all may know. So I live in Texas. I have what's called expanded custody. So I get my kids, my two boys, on the 1st, 3rd, and 5th of each month, from Thursday all the way to Monday. And then I get some holidays like evens and odds. And then I get 30 days in July. I have them. And that's pretty much how it is. So the other day, I was at my older son's soccer game. And one of the things is he was talking to me and he told me, he said, Dad, I thought about calling you the other day because I wanted to see you on Friday. I'm like, boy, why did you want to see me on Friday? And he was just talking and he just said, I just wanted to go to the community center. So we got this new community center now. The community center is, it's in the area that I am in. They just built it and they have like golf court. They don't have, well, it's not a golf course. They have baseball. They have tennis. They also have basketball court. They have like it's kind of like a foosball, but it's like
this shit?
Soccer on side of like a basketball court. And then they also have basketball. They have a playground. They have lots of different things that you can see. And one of the things about him is he really just likes going to the place. They have the library inside. They also have like computers. They have a little tech area where they can do 3D printing and stuff like that. So my son just likes spending a lot of time with me. Sometimes he doesn't always want to be with his mom. And it doesn't really bother me. I think for me, I don't really have an issue with my son, me picking him up, my older son. Even with my younger son, we'll get into that a little bit more. But my younger son, my older son, sometimes he wants me to pick him up. And sometimes I do. The days that it's not my designated days. And then some days I'm like, no, son, I'm busy right now. I have a lot of stuff planned on my to-do list. So I always plan out my to-do list about the day ahead before for the next day, or I plan it the morning of. But I always have an idea of where I'm going for that day. So the fact of the matter is just that you just want to make sure that you always spend good quality time with your kids. And then also too, so the Thursdays that I don't have my kids, I'm also designated to get at least a couple of hours. So sometimes I take my older son to soccer, and then sometimes I just don't pick him up. So it just kind of depends. It really just kind of depends on like how I feel, how I want to look at it, how I want to go from there, and really just what he thinks. His mom is always open to the idea because it gives her a break. So it's always good to give the other parent a break too, because sometimes you want to give parents a break because they have a lot of different things that are going on. Sometimes they're dating and stuff like that. I mean, I know the last I heard, my ex-wife is dating somebody. So, hey, if that's what she does, like even for Valentine's Day, one of the last videos I posted on there where I thought she was really going on a date, but come to find out my younger son was actually sick. I didn't know. I really thought she was just going on a date. And I was like, okay, you going on a date. I wished her the best of luck and stuff like that. And she was like, no, Christopher, I told you, he really is sick. I'm going to, I'm going to this like urgent care. I'm like, okay, yeah. And then I talked to my son about it later. And then he come to find out, he said he really did have like a fever. And then he did throw up. And then even the ladies at the daycare, when we were talking, like that about a week after when I get to go pick up my kids, they were like, hey, I hope Jace feels better. And I was like, wow. I was like, he really was sick. And I felt bad in a sense, and then at the same time I didn't, because I spent time with my older son for Valentine's Day, which I didn't spend time with any other woman, but I was like, I'm so happy and thankful that I got to spend time with my son. And I really like spending time with my kids. It just depends. To me, it all depends on what I have going on for that day, if it's not my day. So sometimes my son will call me, I may pick him up, and then sometimes I won't. Now, as far as my younger son, I try not to really split them up too much. And the reason being is because I always tell my kids, always stick together no matter what, that family is important. And I do tell my older son, he kind of understands, but he kind of doesn't. But I always tell him, if you ever plan to get married, make sure that you put God number one, and then you put your spouse and then your family. Because I tell him, hey, look, if I ever get married, I hate to break it to y'all, but I got to put my spouse, number 2 behind God. And then after that, then it's y'all. But as far as the way things go right now, I put God number 1, and then my kids, and then like my family and stuff like that. And then I have one female that I talk to consistently every day. And that's kind of just the way that I go about things. And I tell people all the time, you got to do what's best for you as an individual. And I just tell people that I really stress, though, if you do have kids, try to do like a week on, week off, meaning that you have the kids for the full week and then you have a week off. There was actually this one time, I'll get into another story about that. There was one time I was dating this one woman. We went on multiple dates, but we weren't like official or anything. But what she did was like 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off, and that worked for them. So I always tell people, try to find the best custody order or arrangement that you have. It doesn't always have to be with the court system, but just make sure that whatever type of custody agreement that you have, that both of y'all agree to it in the terms of the agreement, that it's just the best for both of y'all. And my son, they just like spending time with me because I take them to that community center, and then sometimes we go karting, and sometimes I take them to go on scooter rides, and I try different parks. So we're here in Houston. There's so many different parks because in city of Houston, I think it's around over 2 million people in the Houston area, and then the surrounding area is about 2 million. So I always try to see if there's different parks that we can go to. And then I always look about a week before of what events I have, like what events are going on in Houston as far as kids events, because I take them to different events just surrounding and different stuff like that. Like one time we were driving and I took them to the circus. And I didn't know it was a circus, but we drove by it. Then my son asked me about it, and I said, well, let me see. Because for some reason, I think it's kind of the cheap circus. But the fact of the matter is that they liked it. So I took them there, and then I asked people at the circus, hey, where y'all from? They're like, hey, we're from Mexico City. And I was like, oh, cool. But y'all speak English? They were like, yeah. So I think they travel like throughout the USA, and then they travel through Mexico and like South America. But overall, I think it was a cheap circus. But the fact of the matter is that it's just something that the kids enjoy. I even told my son, I said, hey, I think this is a cheap circus. He was like, yeah, but I liked it. So, you got popcorn and stuff like that. You got ladies all up at the top doing acrobatic moves and stuff like that. So it was really cool just to see that. I really just thought it was interesting to see different things like that. And I try to spend as much time what I can. Another thing that I can tell y'all to do too, I don't know, based on your area, you may or may not do it. We have water parks. We have about 3 or 4 water parks in the Houston and surrounding areas. So I take my kids to the water park. We have, and this is not a paid agreement or anything like that. They're not paying me. And I wouldn't say I'm promoting one versus the other, but in Houston, we have Typhoon, Texas, which is one water park. And then we have what's called Big Rivers Water Park. So the first year, Typhoon, Texas has been open for a couple of years, and I took them to Typhoon, Texas for a little while. And they liked it. And then I said, hey, you want to try a different water park? This one has other events and stuff like that. You want to try it? And they were like, yeah, we can try it. And sure enough, they liked it because they had more things to do. They had like a pool. You could see like alligators and animals and stuff like that, zip line and stuff like that. So again, This is in Houston. This is in Big Rivers. They're not helping me or paying me or anything like that. But if you want to come to Houston, you want to check out a water park. It's right outside of Houston. It's about a little bit less than an hour in the city limits or so. So it's called Big Rivers, and it's really, really nice for kids and stuff like that. If you want to do a day pass there, or if you want to do an all summer pass. And it's just something to do for the kids, get them outside, because in Houston, it gets extremely, extremely, extremely hot. So you want to have something where it's kind of cold outside. And then some of y'all live in colder climates, so there might be different things that you can suggest in the comments and stuff like that, different things that y'all want to do. So I just tell people, just look at what it is that you want to do and try to spend as much time as you can with your kids. I know financial might be a problem sometimes because some of y'all work. Some of y'all have 2 or 3 jobs. And don't get me wrong, I have my regular job, and then I have something else that I do on the side. And I can't get into too many details about it because, I'm paying child support and that. And then, I do YouTube and stuff like that. So these things are just important. It's just important that you spend as much time as you can with your kids and just talk to them and see what it is that they want to do, different activities and stuff like that. And I just feel so blessed. I feel blessed to have a 9-year-old son and a 4-year-old son, because to have kids in general, there's so many people all around the world that don't have kids. So I try to take advantage of a lot of opportunities that I can. Even like one of the YouTube videos, you'll check on there. It's one of my YouTube shorts where I kind of surprised my son. I told him I was coming, but I don't think he knew I was coming that day. But about once or twice a year, I eat lunch with my son, and it's just amazing. I can't be any much more happier. I woke up early in the morning that day, and I fixed myself breakfast. And after that, I cooked some food and stuff like that. My kids, they love shrimp, so I fixed some rice with some vegetables, and I put a little bit of cheese in there. and I just made it, and then I brought it up, mixed it up a little bit, and then I told my son put a little bit of oil in there because my older son doesn't like he doesn't like white rice as much, but I put some more seasoning in it and stuff, and he really liked it. And that's why I tell people, just look up different cook things. Sometimes I watch YouTube cook videos. Sometimes I look up different things. I make different recipes and stuff like that. I wouldn't say I'm the best cook, but I try to keep it semi-healthy. I try to keep it good. Most of the time it's white rice with some vegetables, and then after that I cook some type of meat, put that in there. That's just kind of the way I roll. And then my kids, they like to eat fried eggs in the morning with like bacon and stuff. And then I some orange juice or something. Sometimes they do cereal. And that's how it is. I just, overall, it's just fun. I just can't complain. So, hey, I'm going to come back with another video tomorrow. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you get the views up. Make sure you hit the share. You never know, tomorrow, hey, I might be somewhere else. I'm just trying different things. I'm really enjoying this. I really just want to help fathers from all around the world, not just in Houston, not just in the USA. I just want fathers to be really there for their kids. And even if you're not in your kid's life and you're fighting for custody, just know that you can make it no matter what the situation is. So even if you have a disgruntled co-parent, I'm sure that you can make it through that, and just believe in yourself. You know, I went to court a couple of different times when I was going through divorce, but I always tell people, for me, I don't think it was that bad, but some people, I tell them about it and they think it's bad. So I think it just depends on the situation. But just, you know, just be thankful for your kids and never give up. And, you know, you can always be there for your kids. They're always going to remember the moments that you were there for them. They're not always going to remember the money, but they're going to remember the moments that you were there for them. So, hey, tomorrow we'll be back with another one. Subscribe, like. That's it. Thanks. Bye.